Hello students, I'm Mrs. Girot. Welcome to my studio. Today we are going to be working on a Baroque bust and a chiaroscuro drawing of that bust. So I am going to be doing this in real time just like you. So I'm going to go through that whole thought process. First, you're going to receive your supplies in the mail. And you're going to open them. So here goes. Of course, they make it really hard to get these things open, right? All right, so here it is. Pretty exciting times. So they give you some brushes to paint with. You get some bubble wrap. You can give that to your little brother or sister. You get paints, which we'll use later. And this giant block of self-hardening clay. Now, I am not going to use all of my clay because I've got some other projects I'm going to do with it. So my project is going to be pretty small. All right, so I've got some clay and I need to find some scissors and open that up. Let's see here. Here, right here. Let's open that up and just kind of see what it looks like. I'm curious. I've had some people tell me that their clay is super hard, like already practically dried out. And I suspect mine will probably be along that level. Nope, my clay feels good. Oh, it's nice. But if it was a little dry, you could like cut it up into little pieces and try to like mold, maybe put it in a plastic bag with some water and see if it would like absorb some of that water and get soft again. Or you could always just write a letter of complaint and then go to Walmart and get a little block of self-hardening clay for $5. So I need a surface. I can't just do it on my table. I need something that's portable because obviously I'm going to be using my desk for other purposes this week besides just sculpting. So plus, we just want to be able to clean it up really easily, and we want to be able to store it. So let's, I'm just going to go in my recycle bin, and I am going to find some cardboard. If you have a block of wood, that'd be awesome. I'm also going to get, like, I think I might put parchment paper down, you know, like that wax paper that you cook with, because then it won't stick to it. And, but you could use just the cardboard itself, or you could put some tin foil over it, whatever you feel like. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm done dumpster diving and I was able to find an old milk carton. I'm just gonna, and I also got a plastic bag. You're gonna need a big plastic bag, like a gallon size Ziploc bag, or depends on how big you make it, but I'm not gonna make mine any bigger than this. So I need to cut out my cardboard so that it's going to be the right size to slide into my plastic bag. And the reason why you want it to slide in there is because when you want to take a break, you don't want it to dry out. It needs to stay moist. So you're going to wrap it up in plastic so that it doesn't harden. So let me show you what that's going to look like. Idea. Perfect. So I have this nice little surface that I'm going to put my bust on, and it will fit nicely in my plastic bag with a little bit of height for my bust. Now, if I have to cut this down later a little bit more, I can do that. But here's where I'm going to start. Now, I'm going to need some sculpting tools. So I already noticed right now the ends of these paintbrushes will make great sculpting tools. In fact, I wonder if that's the reason why the brushes are like this, because look at that. I can do some sculpting with the ends of those Pretty sweet, huh? I could even use these brushes to do some smoothing, but if I can find a little sponge, that'll be helpful. I'll grab a knife and maybe a pencil so I have a nice point to work with. I'm also going to grab a little cup of water that will allow me to smooth, and I'm gonna grab another little cup that I'm going to make a slurry of clay with. That's where you take some clay and add some water and mix it up, and it's kind of like a clay glue. So if you ever need to put some pieces together, you can use that little clay glue. So I'm gonna go grab that stuff right now while you go grab yours. All right, so just returning, here's my knife, and I found a special little butter knife, and I didn't find a pencil, but I found a pen that has a nice point. Here is my little cup of water, and here's a small container that I'm going to make my slurry in, and I'll probably need some paper towels along the way, or you can use a rag, whatever you want. So let's get started on that slurry real quick. We're just gonna grab a little bit of clay. I don't expect to be using a lot of slurry, but hey, you never know, and you can always make more. So I'm just putting a little tiny bit in here, and I'm gonna just add a touch of water, not much, maybe a teaspoon, and now I'm just literally just using my fingertip to make mud. Did you know clay comes from the earth? Yeah. So, just making my slurry. How's yours coming along? Whoa, it just splashed right in my face. Good thing, and all over my desk. You know, you could put some plastic down on your desk too. All right, so this slurry is looking pretty good. Takes a lot to get that clay to reabsorb, mix and dissolve into that water. So maybe I'll pause this for a minute. You don't want to sit and watch me make slurry all day. All right, so I finished that up, and I made sure that all of the clumps I had squished and they are gone. So it's just like this nice paste that I could actually paint right on. And so of course my fingers now are a mess, but you're just gonna have to get used to that. Okay, so next we wanna get a big chunk of clay off of here. Land sakes, do you have any wire? I just realized, have you ever cut cheese with wire? Well, you can cut clay with wire too. I mean, it is really hard to break through this. And even using a knife though works, but if you have some wire, you can actually just go whoop. Hey, if you have a cheese cutter, now's the time. Okay, so I'm just gonna take my knife and cut some off, but hey, that's a fun little tip for you. You can use wire. I'm not gonna use that much of my clay because we also have a multimedia project coming up that I might wanna use it for. And I'm also gonna have to use this clay for my Fine Arts A class. So, putting that away, and here it is. So remember, we're making a bust. I'm gonna move this stuff out of the way so you can kind of see a little bit. Okay, so we're making a bust. So a bust is a head. It's usually on a neck. So I've kind of already got, you know, the makings of a bust right here. I just need to kind of pinch away a little bit and make a neck. Hey, look, I just made a neck. Sweet. Okay, remember now this is Baroque, so Baroque was all about action. Now I could use some of that extra clay right there and make a little bit of shoulders coming down if I wanted to. So you just get in the zone. Just have some fun with it. Now that would have been a really good time for me to use my slurry and stuff, but my clay is really malleable and I don't think I'm gonna need it. We'll find out later if it's all dried out, right? Okay, but I'm just working it. Got my little shoulders there. And oh, I forgot my sponge. I think I have one right here in my closet. Let me grab that real quick so I'll show you how to use that. Yeah, I had one of these little makeup sponges. So I'm just gonna dip it in the water and I'm gonna smooth out those shoulders with it. You can do the same thing with your finger. So if you don't have, I'll show you what this looks like. So if you don't have, you know, a little makeup sponge, no big deal. Or you can use a kitchen sponge. But it's just really nicely smoothing the edges around. I can make it so that they're not looking so firm. And I can also take my knife, which has a ton of clay on it, and I can also kind of like carve around the shape that I want. Since there's some areas that look like they could need a little extra help to get a nice sharp border around where my shoulders are coming down, and then just scrape that off the board. I'm just scraping it off. Isn't this fun? I hope you're having fun. I'm so glad that we could do this together. It's such a good feeling to know you're alive. All right, so I've got a really nice edge there. Perfect. And I can just continue using my little wet sponge to smooth that out now, so it doesn't have the rough, jagged edges. And it's not taking me a long time, and I'm not all like, oh, is it perfect? No, I'm not. I'm just like having a good time, feeling it. Yeah, feeling it. Hey, this could be like a TV head. It's like this Max Headroom. All right, so got this little carving knife, and I'm gonna carve the nape of the neck here. There we go. So this is called subtractive process when you're taking away. And what do you think it's called when you're adding, Clay? That's right, it's called additive. Yeah, so this is the subtractive part. And I don't totally trust the knife. I'm gonna get my fingers in there, and I wanna start kind of molding this a little bit so that it's roundish if I can. And you know, the best way to have done that would probably have been to turn it into a ball. So I'm gonna decapitate my bust. Got my shoulders, they are looking good. Look at those shoulders. Okay, so that's looking great. But this is a little too square. So, dun, 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 dun. Probably gonna have to take off my wedding ring. Put it someplace where I'm not gonna lose it. My husband would kill me. Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. All right, and you can go like this. Woohoo! I know you're having fun over there. You're like, I hate art. Art sucks. No, you're not. If anything, you might be just feeling like, I could never do a good job on this project. But you can. All right. Woo! There it is. Perfect. It's a round head. Okay, and now I can show you how to use that slurry. So what you do is you just take on the top of this head, you're gonna make hatch marks. So you cross hatch, and this is how you can join two pieces of clay together. Okay, so you want to just scuff that up real nice. Let's see, can you see that? I made it real jaggedy and funky, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Maybe I want to kind of get this shape. Maybe I don't want it to be, you know, shoot, before I, you know what I'm thinking? I'm going to be doing a lot of molding on this thing. Do I want it attached to the neck right now? I think not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of those awesome paintbrushes. I don't want that to dry out. Okay. So I'm going to throw some water on there, and I'm going to slip that in my plastic bag because I don't want the neck drying. So there we go, that in there, and I'm gonna actually suck the air out. Woo! Don't do this at home, kids. Don't hyperventilate in here. Okay. Okay, so just suck the air out of there. and wrap it and set it there. And that's gonna keep it nice and moist for me while I'm working. And I have all these little other pieces of clay here that, you know, the stuff can dry out pretty fast. Like it said, it's fast drying. So I'm gonna stick this inside the bag too. And you know what? Spray bottle. Let me go get my spray bottle. Okay, so that little piece I'm putting in there, I'm just gonna spray some water on it. Not too much, just a little bit. And when I put it back in there, and you can also spray a little water in there. That'll keep your clay nice and moist. Okay, so, all right, next. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my work on this bust, this face, this head, right on my table. Now, to get that nice dramatic chiaroscuro effect, you're gonna wanna go for like deep holes in the eyes, deep gaping holes in the mouth, cheekbones, maybe you could do some ears, the head tilted, some hair. So just like me, maybe get a mirror and go, and then carve that, okay? So I'm gonna do that right now. And so I'm just sticking my finger in there and I'm making a huge gaping hole. And just doing that, it's already coming to life for me. Yeah, and I'm gonna make it really deep. You know why? Because look at what a contrast that makes. Look at how much shadow there is. If I just make a little tiny opening, you're not even gonna be able to see it. And this is all about drama, okay? So now I'm gonna make some eyes. Oh, I'm gonna puncture them so deep. Look at that. Okay, I need a nose. It's time for some additive. So I'm gonna have to crosshatch my nose a little bit. Crosshatch this area where I'm gonna attach a nose. And I'm gonna use my slurry eventually. I keep talking about it. I haven't used it yet. And I need some clay for the nose. So hey, remember that little tiny piece of clay I stuck in there? It's a perfect size. All right, I'm gonna take that out. You can tell I don't sit around and make busts every day, but you know, art is a problem-solving activity, okay? You don't come into making an art project with all the answers. You come into an art project with some ideas about what you're gonna do, and one question, what do I need to do that? And you go and get some of that stuff, and then you know, find out, oh, I need more, and you keep running and going and getting what you need. And you keep solving your problems. I'm gonna make a nice nose, okay? Maybe a little bit of a bird nose. Maybe that's the reason why he's so terrified. But you know what? I'm also gonna make some nice nostrils. Some nice deep nostrils in my nose in the true spirit of chiaroscuro. Look at my nostrils. You see those guys? They're in there. Okay, and then on this end, this is the end that's gonna attach, right? So I'm gonna cross hatch that end too. And I might just have to stab it a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab my slur. So here we go, using that awesome paintbrush. And I'm putting some of that slur on there. It's just like a glue. Okay, and I'm gonna glue my nose on. Now, not only am I gonna just like glue it on, I'm also going to take my fingers and I'm gonna like press the edges so that they kind of, you know, become one with each other. And you can use a little bit of water if you're getting some resistance, or if yours is already starting to dry a little bit like mine. Okay, so there's a nice nose, nice nostrils. Working that. You can add more clay if you need to. So I'm gonna have to open up and get some more out to fix my nostrils because they were a little thin. Okay, and you're just gonna do that. Okay. Remember to use water if you feel like it's not like making a good seal, just add some water. Or if you're having a hard time molding it, just grab some water. If it's starting to crack, grab some water. Put some water on it. You can spray it with your water bottle too. But yeah, this thing's drying super fast. It's already starting to crack a little bit. Now I've got this awesome nose on there, okay? I need to add some details though, because, you know, it doesn't really look like art yet. So I'm gonna put some lips on, and I'm gonna spray him so he stays nice and wet while I'm rolling the lips. Okay, and I'm just gonna cut off a couple of pieces here. Here we go. I'm gonna cut off one big piece and then cut that in half. Now, don't forget to close this up, and I'm gonna spray it because this stuff is fast drying. Okay, got these two pieces here. Everything's kind of drying really fast, so I'm just keeping it wet, and I'm gonna roll this. Of course, now I made a surface on my table that's all wet. It doesn't want to roll. Okay, roll it. Patty cake, baker's man. Okay, and you can form these lips however you want them. Could even be a mustache. It could be a Salvador Dali mustache. Okay, and I'm just probably gonna wanna crosshatch a little bit and add some slur to it so it'll glue on there nicely, and do that on his little face there. Okay, so you can see I've got some crosshatching. Maybe you can't. And then I'm just gonna add some of my Slurry. So that fills in the cracks. And binds them together. Oh yeah, love that. Okay, and then I'm gonna have to add some water to get the edges to come down and mold with it. Oh, this is fantastic. And yeah, we can go with that mustache. I'm liking that. And I'm gonna go ahead and pop up some cheekbones. Oh, maybe not. Maybe no mustache. This is funny, guys. Yours are gonna be awesome, I know it. Okay, I'm just kind of hurrying a little bit because I want to show you that you can get this done relatively quickly. Okay, I'm doing some pinching and squeezing and just letting this guy's face just take its own form. I'm trying not to dictate him, trying to have him kind of be my guide and tell me, who are you? Who are you? What are you saying to me? Okay. Oh, I love it. It's so much fun, you guys. This is awesome. I hope that you're having fun making yours and that you're starting to see something really goofy or interesting come out of it. You don't have to take yourself seriously. Just have some fun with it. Take some risks. All right, so I think I'm liking the way my guy's got some cheeks that are kind of caving in a little bit. He seems to be really squawking. I'm going to use my sponge. I'm going to show you what this looks like in just a minute. And where you have all those edges that are kind of like, you can tell that the clay is cracking and, you know, and it just doesn't look smooth. Just grab your sponge and smooth it out. It'll look so much better if you do. Places where maybe you made a fingernail mark. And sometimes those marks are nice. Like, you know, if you are liking the textural aspect of what you're getting out of it, then go with that, you know, and do that texture everywhere. Be consistent. If you decide to go with an interesting texture, do it everywhere. Okay? Don't just do it in one spot and then have the rest of it be smooth, because that'll look funny. Okay. All right, so here's kind of what my guy's looking like. Is that expressive? That was good, but it's pretty expressive. It's expressive because it went really deep, and then I added those lips on to give it even more of a dimension. I sunk his cheeks in and squished them in. I've got a long nose, and now I need to work on the eyes. So, got the same piece of clay that luckily I sprayed it before I set it over there because it's already almost dry. And let's see, eyebrows are important, right? I'm making them thick, you know, because this is all about drama, okay? So gonna do some little bit of cross hatching here. And cross hatching here. Put some slurry on there. This stuff really does work. I mean, it's glue. It's pretty sweet. Okay, so I got an eyebrow. That's gonna help. Those eyes, it's gonna give a lot of, you know, eyebrows are important. Really, you know, well, you gotta have that. How would I be like? Oh, they'd be up high, huh? Yeah, my eyebrows would be so high. Do you talk to your sculpture while you're making it? Okay, so here's an eyebrow. It sticks out a little bit. It's kind of nice. Just do the same thing on the other side. Some cross-hatching. Uh-oh. Time for my daughter to do her ABC mouse. And just get this eyebrow fixed. And I'll get her started on that and be right back. She's gonna come in here and freak out if she sees me doing clay without her. Did I lock it? I might have locked it. Yeah. She'd be like, I want to do it. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to make a video right now. You know? Yeah. Okay. So, now I've got two eyebrows. And then I try to furrow them a little bit, and I might have to get my happy little sponge and smooth some things out here. Don't want to smooth them out too much because then you'll lose all your drama, right? Okay, I am loving this, loving it. I think I need to squeeze my temples a little bit for dramatic effect. Don't forget to use water. If you're seeing that cracking, just get that water on there. Okay, how's it look? That's pretty fun, huh? So, I'll be right back. Gotta get that girl on ABC Mouse. Okay, so while I was out, I went and grabbed my wire and my wire cutters. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys how to use wire to do some cool stuff. I'm gonna put some hair on mine. So I'm just going to use wire cutters. Here is the sharp part right there. And if you stick your finger in there and do that, it will cut it right off. Okay, so don't do that, all right? This part up here, these are the pliers where you can grab the wire and bend it. All right, so I'm gonna cut off a piece. Squeeze hard. Okay, I'm gonna cut off a few pieces. I think I'll do 3 pieces just like that. Now this is optional. You could use sticks. If you didn't have wire, you could find some thin, strong sticks. But I'm using wire on purpose because it bends. And I'm gonna make some fun hair that comes out of it. So I'm gonna stick the wire right into the head, and that's gonna help my hair stand up. Okay, and then I just had to make sure that it didn't puncture through my eyes or anything like that. Does that look like that could be some fun hair? Now, I don't know if they're too long. They might be a little too long, so I'm going to cut them down now that they're in there. Okay. All right. And I can bend them to whatever funny shape I want to give them. And I probably could have bent them before I actually had them in, you know, my sculpture's head. But of course, I like to do things the hard way. All right, so here we go. I've got my 3 wires, and now I'm just gonna take some clay and make it so that my hair is standing up on end. Sometimes I'll use my knife, cut some clay off, spray in there. Keep it moist in that bag. Plan on using that clay again. All right, and let's see here. So I'll probably just take this chunk and cut it into 3 pieces, 1 for each of the wires. Make sure they're, you know, the same length of the wires. I could always cut the wires off at the end if I needed to later. And I'm going to make so the base is, I think I'm going to flatten them, and I'm just going to wrap them right around the wire. Like, see how I've got it like that, and I'm just going to kind of wrap it around the wire. And of course, I'm going to want it to come to a point. So I'll have some extra clay left over, which will be helpful. And of course, this would have been good to have a slurry that I can still get in there with my knife and get that cross-hatching in there. And I can get some of my slurry in there to make sure that it stays glued right there. Okay. Use my water to make it so that there aren't any seams. Alright, then I can feel the wire protruding out from one side, so I'm not doing the best job here, I must admit. That's okay. It's clay. You can fix it. Okay. So that just helps it to maintain its shape. And that's kind of how it's looking. So just, oh man, I squished my mouth. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put the other pieces on. I won't make you watch. Lots of water. Gently pinching it up. Using water to smooth it, bring it into a nice point. You just have to be careful and remember that you might have some issues with things when they are drying, that they might crack. You can go back and like sand them and file them and stuff later after they're dry. I mean, it happens. So just, if you have a situation where yours cracks when it dries, don't beat yourself up. Just see if you can get some clay and try to fix it. Now, the problem that I have now is that the back of my dude's head is totally flat because I've been doing it on the flat surface, right? So I've got to cross-hatch him. I have to add a round back to his head. He can't have a flat head. Okay, so let's get some more clay. just need enough to give him a round head. Spray in there. Okay. So I'll just kind of mold this like we did before. Roll it into a little ball. And then I can kind of make it into an oval. Okay. And of course I can just flatten this one side of it down because, well, that's what the other side looks like, right? And I've got some more pieces of clay here that I've torn off, and I think I'm gonna mix them together, add a little bit of water to it so that there aren't any seams when they come together. Okay, put those together, and I'm gonna go ahead and combine them. So I'm gonna start over because I realized the piece that I picked was a little small. Like I said, it's a problem-solving game. Okay, so you want it to be, I'm gonna roll it into a ball. Honestly, that worked the best last time. So rolling a ball, rolling a ball, rolling a ball. Okay, and you don't want there to be any cracks in your ball. So, whatever you gotta do. Okay, so this is gonna be round like the back of his head. And let's see if that fits now. Pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna cross-hatch this piece. You can see that. Just doing that, and then taking my slurry and painting it in the cracks, just like a glue, painting it all over the surface. Okay, I'll do that to the other side. Fun times, fun times. Okay, then I'm gonna throw him on, his head on there. Which way is the best? And I gotta be careful now not to smash his face. I'm gonna use water and my thumb to try to join the edges together. Being really careful not to flatten out his face that I worked so hard on. And you can always grab more slurry and put it in those cracks too if you need to. A lot of it is just feeling, like you can feel it when it's, you know, coming together. You just rub it in. Is this like rendering when you're drawing? When you're doing a drawing and you're rendering, you're using your eraser or a tissue or your finger to smooth areas. And it's the same thing here. We're rendering this so that it looks three-dimensional. And to do that, you kind of have to make sure you don't have any seams, if that makes sense. So just be looking out for places that need a little TLC. Get rid of that rough look. Yep, lots of water on there. It'll just smooth right out for you. So nice. Wait, I keep getting little hairs, so you don't want those on there. You have little hairs on there. Ah! That one doesn't want to come out. He's like... Okay. I think I got it. Okay, so now that you kind of have the back of your head on there again, if you were like me and yours was flat, and you can look at the whole thing as a whole and just see, you know, what looks good, and keep working it. Keep rendering. My fingers are really clay. They've got tons of clay on them, so it's starting to mess things up a little bit every time I touch something. It leaves a little patch of funky texture, so I'm just washing all the clay off my fingers. Okay, and sure enough, I did do a little bit of squeezing in places where I shouldn't have, and that's okay. The last thing that I would do on this is add ears. It's not a requirement, but yeah, ears would be good. Okay. Oh, slippery. Okay, so here he is. He's got a nice round head now, and I gotta get him on his shoulders and his neck. This is gonna be fun. So I gotta figure out a way to set him down. I'm gonna set him on a tissue so I can kind of like prop him up a little bit. Whew. Almost done. Okay. So here's my neck. Still nice and moist because I sprayed it and had it in the bag. And my slur is still on there. It's looking real good. I might just go ahead and, whoops, there goes my guy's head. Okay, now I gotta figure out, that was good that I kind of had that tissue on there. Well, maybe not, because that piece of hair I was trying to pull off. Another one earlier was on there. Okay, so I gotta figure out how to get him to rest on there. So I just stuck him on there and actually made kind of a little imprint from the slur, and I can see right where I need a cross hatch on this side. And add my slurry to it. That on there. Nice and thick. Sound like I'm from Tennessee. Okay, put some more slurry on the neck. I really want this to come together nicely. I'm gonna set the side that I want it on. I think that's the back of the head. I think this is the front. It doesn't even really matter. I think it looks better like this. Okay. All right. So now, just gotta get that rat in the way. Do you think I should use some wire for this part? Yeah, I do. This works great if you're, you know, ever doing sculptures where there's like arms or legs. Just put some wire. Okay, so I'm gonna put it up through the head. I might want to put a couple of them. Okay, just to make sure it's strong enough to hold it. Here we go. Okay, that's going down. Just gonna keep pressing it down. Oh, that wire in there made a huge difference. I'm gonna take some slurry, and where there's gaps, I'm gonna paint that in there. Cool. It's coming together really nicely. And now I just have to work to get that clay to like really mold into the neck. Or vice versa. Try to get that neck to pull up into that head. This is really fun, and I'm loving the fact that I've got that wire in there because that head is top heavy, and that wire is keeping it nice and steady. Okay, it's looking real good. Remember, water helps it mold, makes it a lot more easier to pull that clay where you need it. Keep that water handy when you're having a hard time. Dip your fingers in your water. Darn that hair. Jeez, and they're like these weird fuzzies, like, really, where do those come from? Okay. Whew. I think I worked up a sweat. Got my little wet sponge. I'm gonna go around now with my sponge and I'm just gonna smooth things in places where, like, I had it leaning against the tissue and it made a funny texture. And you can play around with texture too on this project. Like, maybe you want to find some different materials and press it into the clay to create some texture. I always prefer to have my sculpting smoothed because I feel like it gives it more of a refined look. Yeah, I've been touching it all over the place and it's got my little fingerprints on it, and I got to get that clay off my fingers because it's creating a texture every single time I touch it. It's got my texture on there. Okay, so, you know, I don't know if the hair is going to hold up or not in the drying process. It might crack and crumble right off. You know, it's hard to say. But what you do have to do now is you have to let it dry slowly. Okay, I know it's fast drying clay, but guess what? If you've been noticing as it dries, it cracks. So to avoid cracking, you seal it up in your bag and you let it dry. Okay. All right, man. I'm gonna have to use my paintbrush to smooth out the nostrils. Dip that right in the water. And this big brush isn't the best one. It's not working real well. I'm gonna use one of the softer brushes because, oh, that's much better. Yeah. I can get right inside of the nostrils now and smooth it out so that it doesn't look so rough and it matches the texture of the rest of my sculpture. And in those detailed areas, like in the eyes, I'm just brushing water in there and smoothing it out so that it looks finished, it looks refined. Okay, so you're gonna have to let this dry for the next day or so inside the plastic bag. You'll be checking on it frequently to see how it's doing. And then we're gonna get together and draw it. We're gonna do our chiaroscuro drawing. Okay. Then after we get done with our drawing, we're gonna photograph this in a professional way. Okay. I'm really recommending going over it with a nice paintbrush with water. It looks great on mine. All that extra attention to detail. It's kind of like, you know, when you color in a coloring book, it's the difference between having scribble lines and having a nice smooth color. Uh-oh, here she comes! Hi, Eva! I am making a sculpture, sweetie. It is a Baroque bust. Let's turn it.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Why do you want to make it watery?
Well, this is actually helping to blend. I've got some places where it's got some texture in there. I'm just trying to smooth out.
Why do you want to do this?
Well, I'm doing it for my students because my students are doing this week.
Well, I'm just gonna go poop, okay?
We might have to edit that out. Ah, you're so funny, Eva. I'm making a video right now. You're such a character. Oh, jeez.
I can poop.
Oh, brother.
I'm going to poop.
I didn't teach her that. Her dad did, I promise. Oh, man. Okay. So, get this part done. We're going to have to... Looks pretty cool, huh? There it is. All right, now I gotta get him inside plastic. So I think I'm gonna have to cut. Oh, my board bent. I'm gonna have to cut my board. Remember I said this might happen. You gotta get it into your bag. So I'm making my board round. Okay. Let's see here. Thanks for the update.
What are you doing?
Kind of scared.
Uh-oh. I'm scared too. Is it gonna get wet? Oh my gosh, I just stepped on plastic. That's so funny.
I bet you're right in front of the camera, honey. Okay, so I'm gonna spray. Get some moisture in there. And I'm not totally gonna seal it. I'm gonna actually, like, there's a little, see that little tiny crack right there? Just a little bit of air can get in and out. Oops. Looks like he's wanting to bend backwards. I'm gonna have to bring him forward a touch.
Is that clay?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Okay, so for him to dry, I'm actually gonna have to keep his head up against something so he doesn't go. All right, so Eva, please. So I'm gonna leave that crack there, and I'm gonna check on this frequently and make sure that it's not drying too fast. I'll know it's drying too fast if it's cracking. Okay, so that might take a while to dry. Might take a couple days. Thanks so much for watching this video. So the next thing we're gonna do is draw it, and then we'll photograph our drawing and our sculpture. Thanks for joining me.